Hi.
Hi, hi everyone. I'm Chris. This is,
Leah.
and welcome to Veridian Adventures. This is our first official recorded video. The purpose of this video is to kind of recap our road trip experience from Colorado to Florida. We did recently make the move. We're currently in process of closing on a house. We should be doing that at the end of this week and moving into the house next week. And I do want to apologize about the quality of our video and audio, webcam on the laptop, and mic on a headset. That'll change over time as we can get some budget towards improving it if we continue doing this, which we are both really excited to do. So without further ado, we can start talking about our adventure here. That started on, I would like to say 7/3, July 3rd, when we stayed at my parents' house, or we could say it's ours, we're married. And that was in, excuse me, Monument, Colorado, in the Black Forest. It was actually, that place is a gorgeous place to set off from. We stayed the night there, woke up early the next morning, and started. Not much to report on the 4th of July in that morning. We did see antelope in Colorado, towards the eastern Colorado there, and I, for one, have never seen it.
You've never seen antelope before?
I've never seen wild
That's
antelope.
A lie. Because when we were in Breckenridge, we saw them when we went horseback riding.
I don't remember that.
That was about 12 years ago, so I don't blame you for forgetting.
Anyway, so we did see antelope, which was pretty neat. It did cause the traffic to slow down because they were crossing the street. This was before we made it to I-70.
Oh yeah, we were on, was it 24?
I think it was 24.
I think it was Colorado 24. It was a local highway. It was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing there except antelope and wind turbines.
Right. Which that's all that we saw
until we got to I-70.
I-70. Then it kind of opened up, and we got into Kansas,
which was nothing.
Yes, Kansas is.
Well, it was also foggy
nothing.
too. To be fair,
it was pretty foggy throughout. I would say most of the trip. In the morning, it was pretty foggy and very overcast in Kansas throughout our entire day, which was very nice. We didn't really have to use our air conditioning until we almost got to our first hotel. I keep looking at... Anyway, a lot of wind turbines there. Nothing really to report. It was very easygoing, not much traffic on the road on the 4th. We checked into our hotel in Lawrence, and I would have to say it was our best hotel. Still not the greatest.
That was a comfort.
It was a Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say which one. I don't want to get them in trouble. We're not going to be doing a review of that. But I do want to just say that when we did get there, the rate was $109 for that night. And throughout the entire stay, it kind of smelled a little funny.
That was the bathroom.
There was the bathroom, and then even the lobby I thought smelled kind of funny. And I'm wondering if it was just the cleaning supplies that they used. So it kind of almost smelled like stale Pine Sol, in my opinion. It was really weird. And I do got to say, I'm not trying to be mean about people in Kansas, but our experience with people in Kansas, really the working force, whether it be the fast food place that we went to or two fast food places. We went to like a McDonald's and a Dunkin' Donuts. And granted, it could have been just college kids. I don't know, but they were very rude. The lady that checked us in our hotel, fantastic. She was great. And I do want to say, the morning that we woke up, we tried to rush out of there, and we forgot a bag full of our gaming systems. And they were great in getting it to us. I had to pay for shipping, but everything was accounted for, and we received it on Monday when we checked into our resort here in Florida. I would say in my opinion, when we landed in Lawrence, was the first experience of humidity. You get out of that car and it just blasts you.
Which is funny because we were still in Kansas.
Yes, we were still in Kansas, but it just goes to show the difference between Colorado and Kansas already. Mm-hmm. We stayed over the night at that Comfort Inn. Of course, I heard the fireworks. I'm a very light sleeper, and it took like 40 minutes for it to stop. But after that, slept okay. Next morning we woke up and we departed. So that brings us to Thursday the 5th. And fairly uneventful throughout the rest of Kansas. Since we were in Lawrence, we only had about an hour, I would like to say, in Kansas. And what I really enjoyed going through I-70 was that you go right underneath all the big buildings and stuff of Kansas City, which is really cool. And when you pop out the other side, you're pretty much in Missouri.
You are in Missouri.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
He said pretty much.
Pretty much. Sorry. Anyway, and I can't remember if it was through Kansas. I think it was through Kansas when I-70 actually turned into a toll road.
It was right before we got to Lawrence. And we weren't expecting it, but they had cash option, which was nice. Mm-hmm. So we were able to grab a card and pay.
Yes. So when you get on, you have to pull off to the side. You get a little card that indexes whatever exit you're going to take and how much you can expect to pay. And then you get in the end, and you can either pay cash or credit.
Yeah, they did have the credit option, which we didn't need. We had cash.
We did have cash.
So that's nice to know that you can pay by card.
And that was the entire length of that toll road that we went on. I think it was the entire length because we never got off I-70.
Well, we got off at Lawrence, so we had to pay to get off of Lawrence, and then we got back on the next morning. And when you leave Kansas, it stops being a toll road, so you have to pay right before you get out of Kansas the final amount. Okay.
It was cheap. I think it was like overall for the both times on the toll road, it was about $3.50.
Something like that. It was less than $4.
Yeah. And then I would have to say, through Missouri, it was beautiful. It was uneventful. Barely any traffic, which was nice. And then when we get to St. Louis, we got to see the arch. And I remember growing up, we did a road trip, and we got to go into that arch. We didn't stop off to do it. Maybe we'll go back sometime. Mm-hmm. But that was the only time we got a little frazzled with the directions. We kind of missed the turnoff or merger, and it wasn't too bad. We just ended up going down to the next off-ramp and doing a funky loop.
It was his fault.
No.
He said, "Oh, you're fine," because I was driving, and I was in the wrong lane, and I realized it, and there was a car there I couldn't pass, so we had to get off and turn around. So we got to drive into St. Louis for a minute.
Well, I'm sorry. Anyway.
I'm just going to trust the GPS next time instead of him.
Right. I want to say after St. Louis, you go through Illinois. Same thing. Illinois was a lot flatter than St. Louis. A lot more agricultural land.
A lot of trees.
A lot of trees, which was nice. And then we go through Kentucky. We did go through a little bit of Kentucky.
We went through Kentucky.
We went through Kentucky. Nothing really to report there. Still an easy peasy trip. You were looking at me like you were giving me the stink eye.
Mm-hmm. No, we went through several states that day. We went through Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee.
And Tennessee, right. Yeah. Tennessee.
That's where we stopped.
So with Tennessee, we were still on, it was it 75?
I don't remember.
I think it turns in. But we didn't go straight down through Tennessee. We actually did a little bit of a half-hour side trip to see my uncle and my aunt in Tennessee, which I enjoyed that little visit. That was really nice. We got to have some very delicious pulled pork, and my son got to swim in their pool, and it was very fun. And I haven't seen them in a very long time, and it was very nice to be able to see them. They were very hospitable. And then from there, we checked into, in my opinion, the worst day of our trip. It was like a Red Roof Inn, which turned out to be the most expensive.
Because it was in Nashville.
It was in Nashville. $133.94 is what we paid for that night. And the bed was like the worst bed I've ever slept on in my entire life.
I woke up with my back hurting the next day, so he had to do the first leg of the trip. I normally was driving in the morning, and that day I asked him to do it because my back was just not good.
Yeah. And the toilet, it had like 6 gallons of water in it.
And it sounded like it was going to explode every time.
Yeah, it was like a train whistle.
Yes,
high-pitched, and it was there for like 15 seconds each time. You just had to hope that you were going to survive.
Yep.
Let's see. The Wi-Fi too was pretty bad, but I think it was more because we took a little Roku box with us that has all our streaming services on it, so that way we can watch what we want to watch as opposed to rely on live TV that we really don't do too much of. And I just didn't want to take the time to figure out how to connect it because we had the same problem here at the resort we're staying at, but I figured out how to get it to work. And then woke up that next morning, and that brings us to Friday. That would be the 6th. And I liked, after we checked out and we walked outside.
Because it smelled like barbecue.
Yes, it was like day old barbecue, like charcoal barbecue.
I'm the one that said
so,
that.
yes, it was very pleasant. Because who doesn't like the smell of barbecue?
Apparently, at 5 o'clock in the morning, Nashville just smells like barbecue.
I don't know if there's a lot of vegetarians in Nashville.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe people from Nashville could say if there's a lot of vegetarians or vegans.
Yeah.
But anyways, fantastic. I love that smell. Nashville, I would say was one of my favorite cityscapes that we got to see as we drove by. We drove around, of course.
Because it was morning and the sun was rising and everything. There's some photos of it on our Instagram account.
Yeah.
Photos of a few different spots throughout our trip out here.
And if you want to follow that, what's that Instagram?
Veridian Adventures.
Okay.
Just look for @Veridian Adventures on Instagram, and we're there.
Excellent. Feel free to follow us.
Yes, please.
And Atlanta. So going through Nashville, after we got outside of Nashville, Tennessee, through the northern part of Georgia, not much really to report there. It was just standard going. Still not much traffic. The only traffic we encountered was when we got to Atlanta.
And that was because you literally go straight through Atlanta. Luckily, it was later in the morning, so it wasn't rush hour. But it was still a lot of traffic.
It was a crazy, hectic kind of merger, and I think it's because they have like 100 on-ramps onto one street, and like it's not continuous lanes. It's just like bam, you're there. So that was kind of fun, but it only took us. It didn't stall too much at all. I think it mainly extended our trip by like 5 minutes. We had some buddies of ours recently moved to Florida, and they got stuck in Nashville for about
Not Nashville, Atlanta.
Or Atlanta for about 3 hours, I think he said.
He said 3 hours.
Yeah, mistakes were made,
friends
Marshall.
Friends of ours that were from the area warned us that the traffic there would be bad.
Yeah. But we have to say we lucked out.
Yeah.
So if you're traveling and you're going to be going through big cities, early in the morning. Or possibly late at night. We're early morning people. Yeah. Georgia, the rest of Georgia.
Pretty straightforward.
Northern Florida, still not much. I do got to say though, as soon as we seem to get closer to Florida, you started to see a lot more Florida plates. And I learned Floridians drive extremely fast. Like, fast by at least 20 miles over the speed limit.
To be fair, the speed limits are lower here. So
They are lower.
They're probably driving about as fast as anyone was in Colorado. It just feels like they're driving fast.
Yes, and that's what I would expect, because it felt more like home anyways, because people on the I-25, there's no such thing as slow unless you get honked at. But still, I do have to admit, even now in Florida, it doesn't compare to Colorado. You get people that will drive 20 miles under the speed limit and in rain, and oh my, we'll get to that in a sec. We'll get to Florida here in a sec, because we've been here a few days now, and we've been trying to get out on the roads every day, just to explore and experience it. So we'll come to the Econo Lodge on that was it Friday night or Saturday night?
It was
Saturday. Saturday on 7/7. Let me. There we go.
Before that, even when we got into Florida, we were like all happy because we were in Florida.
Yep.
And then 5 seconds later, torrential downpour.
Yes. Was that before we got to the Econo Lodge?
Yeah, that was the day we got here.
Yeah, okay. See, that's why I have her.
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember finer details.
He also skipped over us going through the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee.
Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. It was fun. I made the joke that they were baby mountains, because Colorado, Rockies. If you see it, you understand. They were still mountains, and they were gorgeous.
They are mountains.
Mm-hmm. I got a kick out of seeing a little bump on the skyline. And yeah, Econo Lodge stay, decent. Cheapest, yes. $80, $80.90 after taxes. Taxes in Florida doesn't compare to Colorado taxes. You can spend like $35 on food and only pay like $2 in taxes, which is crazy.
Which is nice, because we did that. We went to the Cracker Barrel for dinner. After signs the whole way out here, finally gave in and went to the Cracker Barrel.
Fried chicken. With honey.
That's all he can think about.
Yeah, it was delicious. Cracker Barrel. Yes. Good food. And Econo Lodge, though, it was mid-grade. Nothing bad about the room. We did not take showers in the morning, because I would say that was the worst bathroom. It was kind of icky.
It was a little gross.
Yeah.
And somebody left a loofah there, so obviously they didn't really check the bathroom very well.
Yeah.
It was behind the door.
The back side of that door. Oh, yeah, it's making me queasy just thinking about it. Anyway. But we just held on, because that was, leaving that morning was the shortest part of our trip. It was about 3 hours from Lake City, Florida, down to Kissimmee, where our resort is, though we didn't actually check in for several hours later. We had to drop our dog off at the, was it Wolf and Whiskers Resort?
Because the Polynesian Isles is not pet friendly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only place on our trip where we've stayed that isn't pet friendly, but he's at a good kennel and we get to see pictures of him every day, so
yeah,
we'll get him back in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think the 16th is when our stuff from Colorado should arrive, after we close on our house, of course, and we'll be moving in within that week. Which we can come now to more about our resort stay here. I like it here, and it's just my experience with the resort. I'm used to a timeshare that we use as a family in Breckenridge every other year, excuse me. And it's the Grand Timber Lodge. If you want to look at like a timeshare place to stay, that place is fantastic. We go there as a family, and they have like a cafe and a pub, or like a bar. Which, if you're on like a staycation in Breckenridge in the summer,
it's nice.
Our family, we get together and we party. We enjoy the drink,
Poolside.
socially, poolside, starting at 10 a.m., ending at 10 p.m. So it's kind of nice there because we get to, take the taxi services or the bus down to the little town there.
Or walk if you're okay with walking uphill.
Yes. And more on that later. If we ever do get the opportunity to go back with family,
We will talk about it better.
we will do some footage about that because that would be considered part of our Veridian adventures. And this resort, it's good for what it is. It was disappointing to learn that they didn't have a place to eat or have even a bar here.
But because we're in Kissimmee, there's about 15 restaurants within a 5-minute drive, so we were able to get some food.
Olive Garden.
Yes, we went to the Olive Garden. There aren't many Olive Gardens where we're from, so we went to the Olive Garden.
Yeah. And we actually, in turn, because it was was it still Sunday? It was still Sunday.
Sunday night.
We didn't want to go out because after we dropped our dog off at the kennel, we swooped down to Davenport, saw our house, and then came back up here. So very long days still, even with the lower duration in the car that morning. So we decided to try Publix delivery service.
Yes.
How do you think that went?
It went fine. We'd never ordered groceries from anywhere. It was available through King Soopers. Back east, I know a lot of people back west. Forget where I am now.
Yeah. You're from the east.
I'm originally from the east.
Hi, Flynn.
Hey. But we've never used it before, so we didn't know what to expect. I think for what it is, it was great. I know you were getting a little frustrated just because everything that we wanted was getting substituted.
So that's the thing to be mindful of, that when you use a delivery service like that, and I'm pretty sure people have before, I haven't, this was my first experience with any kind of grocery delivery service, there's options to replace items. So as the guy was going there, he was gathering stuff. He would send me text updates to say, this isn't in stock, we chose this, can you approve or find a different replacement? And some of the stuff, like I really like Almond Joy coffee creamer, didn't have it, so that was a sad day. But it was fine. I replaced it with a different one, and I asked for one onion. One. What do I get? He didn't even send me a notification. 4 little itty bitty onions, tiny little things. I cut them up last night, and it took me forever because even the knife here at the resort, very flimsy. But overall, it was a good experience. We had the little shopping cart, and it was like $130 or something.
And it said within 2 hours, and I think we got it less than an hour.
Yeah, we got it fairly quick. Had to spend, I think it was about $30 more because of replacements, plus an additional tip. Because I'm a generous guy. I like tips. Which
we probably could have looked at doing Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So I think you get a better deal from Amazon Prime. It's something worth looking into if you're going on vacation.
Yeah.
Because we almost did that when we were at Disney World back in January, but we
did.
opted not to.
Yeah, and I think mainly because we were on the dining plan, and so it didn't really make much sense, especially because if you're on the Disney dining plan, there's snacks. You don't need anything else other than that.
Yeah.
But more on that will come later as we experience that and share our experiences with you all. And with the resorts, I did a little video touring our room here. It is a 2-bedroom suite, very limited, I would have to say. But other than that, so far it's been a decent experience, almost like a home away from home, as you will. Flynn's gotten to swim at the pool 2 days in a row now, and he'll probably go back today. I'll even probably head out there as I can. I am still working, but I got to get color on my white skin. And I can do that here. That's one thing I've enjoyed about Florida so far is the sun does not feel as intense by a long shot. It is hot.
It is hot. There's a lot of humidity, but back in Colorado, it felt like we were roasting if it was 65 degrees outside.
Can always smell bacon.
Yeah. Worse when it got up to 70, and then you'd start sweating. Anything higher than that. So out here with the humidity, it makes the air thicker and a different kind of uncomfortable, but not unbearable.
You get used to it.
And you get used to it, and you don't have to worry about feeling like you're baking when you sit at the pool watching your kids swim.
Yes. Oh. Yes. And with that, I think that about sums up our little road trip adventure here. Please let us know if you like this with a like, comment, or subscribe. If you do subscribe, consider enabling that little bell there right underneath the video screen. Get notified when we post more. We will be posting more soon, probably not within the next couple weeks, maybe at least a week while we move into our house and get situated. I was promised medieval times for my birthday.
Get medieval times for you.
That birthday weekend is coming up in a couple weeks. I'm very excited to experience that. And more details when we actually do it. But yeah. I am Chris.
I'm Leah.
Thank you for watching Veridian Adventures. From our family to yours. See you next time. Bye-bye.